If you're running a small or medium-sized business, you know that to-do list never, ever ends. So today, we're going to talk about something that might feel like a nice-to-have, but is actually a must-have for success these days: human rights. And I'm going to show you why it's not some burden, but a real-deal business advantage.
So this is the big question, isn't it? I mean, with everything from sales to payroll on your plate, why on earth should this be a priority? It's a completely fair question, and the answer, you'll see, goes way beyond just doing the right thing. It's about running a smarter, more resilient business.
And look, this isn't just some academic theory. This quote is from the director of a small business, someone who is in the trenches just like you. And what's his big insight? It's that to really win inside your company, you have to pay attention to what's happening outside of it. You just can't separate the two. Okay, so let's get practical. We're about to flip the script on this whole conversation. This is not about ethics class or just checking a compliance box. This is about spotting hidden risks before they blow up and turning them into a real, tangible competitive advantage.
And this right here, this is the perfect way to think about it. Focusing on human rights is like having a radar for your business. It lets you scan the horizon for trouble, with your team, your suppliers, your reputation, and deal with it before it becomes a full-blown crisis. It's all about being proactive instead of constantly putting out fires. And the payoffs are so concrete. We're talking about building a great reputation that brings in customers, sure, but it also attracts the best people. The kind of talent that wants to work for a company with real values. It helps you dodge those public controversies that can sink a project overnight. And honestly, it can even spark innovation by pushing you to find better, smarter ways of working.
Okay, I can hear you thinking it. Sure, this sounds nice, but isn't this really just for the huge multinational corporations? I'm just a small operation. Let's tackle that one right now. The answer is a hard no. Your risk has almost nothing to do with your size and everything to do with your context. What industry are you in? Who are your suppliers? A tiny catering company using ingredients from a shady supplier could be facing way more risk than a giant software firm. It's your network, your connections. That's where the risk and the opportunity really is.
All right, here's the other big one, and it's totally understandable. You follow all the rules, you pay your taxes, you meet the safety codes. That should be enough, right?
Well, not quite. This slide breaks it down perfectly. Think of the law as the absolute floor. It's the bare minimum. But respecting human rights? That's about meeting the expectation of today's world. It's about getting ahead of problems, being proactive, and building the kind of deep trust that really makes a business stand out. And that, right there, is a massive competitive edge. So, if it's more than just following the law, what do you actually do? It might seem a little overwhelming, but don't worry, there's a really straightforward blueprint we can use. Let's walk through a practical 6-step plan.
And here it is, a simple 6-step cycle based on the UN guiding principles. And notice it's a loop. It's not a one-and-done checklist. You start with a commitment, and that drives you to find your risks. Based on what you find, you take action. You also need a way to make things right if something goes wrong. And then, and this is key, you track how you're doing and you talk about it. That just feeds right back into your commitment. It's a constant cycle of getting better.
And here's the absolute best part. You don't need to reinvent the wheel here. This isn't about creating some massive new department. It's about weaving this thinking into the things you already do. You're doing a risk analysis for a new project? Great, just add a column for human rights impacts. Reviewing your safety policies? Perfect. Think about mental health and fair hours too. You just build it right in. Okay, let's make this even more real. How does this blueprint actually show up in the decisions you're making every single day?
So, let's take a situation every single business deals with: hiring people. You've got a pile of resumes, and you need to find the absolute best person for the job.
And this question gets right to the core of it. When you're making that choice, are you laser-focused on just their skills and experience? This isn't just about being fair. It's about making a brilliant business decision. When you actively avoid biases about age or gender or background, you make sure you're picking from the biggest possible talent pool. You get the best person, period.
Okay, now let's look outside your own doors. Let's talk about your supply chain. You need to order some materials, and you're really pushing your supplier for a quick turnaround to land a big client.
And there it is, that ripple effect. The choices you make have an impact all the way down the line. Now, asking this question doesn't mean you have to run your supplier's business. It just means you recognize that your decisions have influence and you're managing the risks that come with it. Because trust me, a problem in their business can become your problem really, really fast.
So,
We've gone through the why, the what, and a how. And really, it all comes down to a choice. Not just a choice about process, but a choice about what kind of leader you want to be.
I love this quote because it just nails it. You can manage a business just by chasing numbers, which often leads to burnout and cutting corners. Or you can build your business on a foundation of strong values and let that be the engine that drives incredible results. From that point of view, respecting human rights isn't just another task, it's the way you succeed. And that really leaves us with this final, essential question. Forget the products, forget the services for a second. What kind of business are you actually building? Because when you put people at the heart of your decisions, you're not just managing risk, you're building a stronger, more respected, and more resilient company for whatever comes next.